In a rain delay, and I'm surprised they got so much done knowing how bad the weather would be up in Connecticut, where the Travelers Championship is. Connecticut's a pretty small state. Now, granted, once you kind of pass through the southern part of it and get to a more northern, southern Mass area, then you're going to get more swirling winds and all. But it doesn't mean that weather in the northern part of Connecticut would be different and so drastic as opposed to the southern part. And I bring this up because I have family that lives in southern Connecticut, and I know it's pretty bad up there. And I was laughing at Twitter's reaction to the horn that went off because I guess in this particular broadcast, they must have been close to the clubhouse, or they must have had a mic or somebody close to the clubhouse where the horn went off, because that thing sounded like an air raid siren. It sounded like there was serious trouble brewing. And I'm laughing because I only live about a mile and a half away from a course. And anytime you hear a little thunder rumbling, and anytime they get the lightning warning, and I don't know if it's 10 or 15 miles out, there's something that is an indicator of how long it has to be out in order for you to blow that horn. But I'm telling you, I'm a mile and a half away, door to door, from this club, and it blasts. And it does sound like an air raid siren, to the point where if an actual air raid siren went off, I'd probably think, it's just the golf course letting me know that there's thunder and lightning coming. And then, of course, the planes or whatever would be coming in, think, that's just the thunder and lightning that the golf course warned me about. There is actual action going on right now that we're just waiting to resume. And it looks like it could be an all foregone conclusion with really 17, 18, and 19 left for Kevin Streelman to catch up to Dustin Johnson, who actually has one more hole to pad his lead at 20 under. So DJ at 20 under, Streelman at minus 18. Couple of interesting storylines about Dustin Johnson and where he came and why it was such a struggle for the first couple of weeks versus now. Great weekend. The prediction of Will Gordon winning this thing has fallen short, but top 5 finish, I'll take that for Bryson as well. Lot to get to this first hour. Action. Sorry. That was my fault.
Mortgage.
All my fault.
But I mean,
More important.
I don't know, man.
No, I thought, you know what it was?
Most.
I thought
Mortgage
it was
rates
my
are near
fault because I
historic
thought the
lows.
music
So when
was
you
ending
call
earlier than it was.
8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875.
So no guest in the first hour, right?
No.
Okay, what do we got for the tweet?
So if you want, it probably was. It was the first hour of his show Friday night. Do you know when that airs? 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So it's probably that.
Less free testosterone.
It's probably in that 40 segment, right?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So do you want to
find it?
Okay, perfect. Do you mind?
You said it was Friday.
Friday night. Yeah, hour
no, I
one.
don't mind. What else do you want for the tweet this first hour?
Right. I put
Just
something out
text
about
Maine
the
to 32132.
Okay, I'll just copy it.
the names on the back of jerseys for the NBA.
Okay.
Testosterone booster at GNC. Its unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help a man feel stronger, leaner, more energetic, and more passionate.
And guys, she'll like the difference too.
Nugenic samples are not available in stores. To get your complimentary bottle, text MAIN to 321321. That's MAIN to 321321.
Attention all timeshare owners. Is this what you'd like to do with your timeshare contract? Do you own a timeshare and just want out? Thousands of timeshare owners are getting out of their timeshare contracts with the help of Timeshare Compliance. Timeshare Compliance can legally terminate, tear up, shred, eliminate, trash your timeshare agreement, ending your payments forever, saving you thousands. So whether you're a victim of a high-pressure, dishonest sales agent, or you were misled with what you were buying, or you overpaid and they underdelivered, call Timeshare Compliance now for a free consultation. With one simple call, the trusted professionals at Timeshare Compliance can legally rip up your timeshare agreement and help rip up your financial suffering. You could save thousands. Call now before another payment is due. Timeshare Compliance is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Call 800-718-2963. 800-718-2963.
Okay, that video on Barstool's Twitter is private to them. I'm gonna have to go record it in the studio when I get you on here.
Okay, no worries. I appreciate that.
This is SB Nation Radio,
and SBNationRadio.com.
presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's
Mike's hot.
So this thunderstorm is actually moving down my way. So be aware. Just so you know, John, the power could go off at any minute.
I'll be hosting soon.
Well, the good news is this generator should work to some capacity. So I'm just looking at this. I'm watching the weather delay. Clearly, Dustin Johnson and Streelman need to get back on there. Bryson, it would take a miracle right now for Bryson to win this thing, but still 5 under or 5 off the lead with what, 2 left, I think, or was he through 17? Yeah, through 17. So no, and it really comes down to right now 2 golfers, Dustin Johnson trying to avoid a pretty big collapse. This would be pretty big for a non-major. Up 2 strokes with now 16, 17, 18 to play. And the guy behind you on the leaderboard is actually 1 hole in front of you through 16, has 2 holes left, and is down 2. It was really tough. And this is exactly what we thought Dustin Johnson would need to do when we spoke with Eric Patterson yesterday from The Score about just shooting around a 4-5 under, and that being the basic expectation for a guy who is not going to duplicate that 61. Now, he might come back out and birdie a couple, but we're waiting honestly for this thing to finish up with the weather delay, and then ultimately DJ can now play and move on. So the storm looks to have, or moving past and now heading south. So unfortunately for me, on with you for the next 2 hours and 45 minutes in the greater Philadelphia area, this thing may go out, but it'll be back up. You just may go commercial, or you may go John Belmer hosting, which is fine. I'd actually love to hear that. Part of me is crossing my fingers right now that we do lose power here in the studio for, I don't know, it'd be like 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes for me to, the generator kicks on. The wireless is the big issue. That and then the internet, that needs to come back ASAP in order to restore everything. If you're watching on Twitch, twitch.tv/Shandor Show, at Shandor Show as well on Twitter, 800-224-2004. We'll get to that phone number. It's open for you, but we'll get to the reason why we open it up on a Sunday in a minute. Huge weekend, though, as we kind of saw where DJ was yesterday and not wanting to tempt fate. And I get it. I took him plus 200 after our conversation with Eric. I was pretty impressed that you could get him after the 3rd round at plus 200 still with some value. But that was the case. And, we saw Brendan Steele kind of fall off as well. Couple of names, though, including Bryson, Brendan Todd, fell off. A couple of names, including Bryson, that are going to continue to hover around this top 5, top 10 finish or so. Now, as we wait for the horn to come out and these guys to come back out, and it looks like the horn is about to blow, Dustin Johnson holding on and winning the Travelers, there it is, would be a hell of an accomplishment for a guy who looked lost when the PGA returned and had plenty of people talking about the boat and hanging with Paulina, to now really being in a pretty good position to ride this momentum into the meat of July. There are going to be some pretty big tournaments over the next 3 or 4 weeks. And this is a huge performance to back it up, that 61 that he shot yesterday. And if you look around, you're pretty much getting the same, even with Streelman. Streelman shot a 63 yesterday and is hanging on at 3 under for the day. To be able to duplicate nobody yesterday, and even Dustin Johnson, you have to understand that shooting a 66 and leaving 5 strokes off there is a pretty significant difference. And it was about matching that heavy performance, which is why Brendan Todd, it wasn't going to happen. Currently through 15, the guy's 4 over on the day. It's a nightmare. 61, you gas yourself out when you shoot 60, 61 on a Friday or Saturday. You gas yourself out. Look at Hughes. Never recovered from that. Just hovering around par ever since. And you know that you have to make a move. At some point, there has to be some sort of push in order to narrow that gap. But for Dustin Johnson, at the very least, moving forward now, as we kind of move and look and sift through the next couple of weeks, this was that tournament that I think he needed for people to trust him. There was this false sense of trust from a betting standpoint, way big, that humongous false sense of trust when it came to biting with Justin Thomas this week, right? Man, he let a lot of us down. And it's golf. It's impossible. All right. There's just no rhyme or reason to the game, which makes betting on it, I think, that much more fun, especially live, when you can cherry pick after a day or 2 or 3 in the case of what we did yesterday. But watching now where Dustin Johnson is, this is, I think, one of these light in the head goes off, one of these aha moments. And yes, today took balance and it took a good round. Not an amazing round. He had that yesterday. But that's why, honestly, that would be the biggest indicator for me, is how he was able to play today, coming off of an impossible feat, which would be to duplicate a 9 or 10 under from the previous day, or to be fair, any other day. But you really don't see that. Will Gordon did his best today. He shot 6 under, but that was sandwiched. The 8 under and the 6 under were sandwiched in between a 1 over. Will Gordon, perfect example, shot a 62, followed up with a 71. Brendan Steele, remember, after 2? Whoa, hold on a second. 10 under, is it enough? Hang it on. That's, again, after 2. Couldn't bounce back, could not put together anything that at least 4 under would keep you in contention or make a push. Shot a 2 under par. Of course, that's a very good score. But you saw there were some shots, if you were watching, on Saturday, Friday. No, Saturday. Sorry, days are confused. That's just what happens 8 days a week when you're doing this. You saw a completely different golfer. You saw a guy who was able to make a couple of shots and save, as opposed to a 62 the day before on Friday where he was moving. This is a great sign. If Dustin Johnson can finish even less than where he is now, 4 under, let's say he pushes it, birdies one of these final 3 holes, a 5, dare I even say a 6 under, is not, that compounds the accomplishment. That does. That is truly the feat that you would look at these last 2 days, the Saturday and the Sunday, and then match that up moving forward. If it's odds, if it's futures, if it's a top 20, wherever you have it, this is momentum. This is a guy right now who has been playing insanely well. Now, we'll see. Rain delays big. You're sitting around, you're waiting, you're trying to hit some balls, you're trying to stay warm. It's not easy for either one of these guys. It might leave an opportunity for Streelman. If, in fact, let's be fair. Streelman birdies, Dustin Johnson bogeys, you've got a tie score here. Would be something else if we went into a playoff after that weather delay, knowing that Dustin was cooking and he was really moving. But such is life when you're trying to jam as much golf in as humanly possible before the next nor'easter rolls through Connecticut as it did today. I don't know how serious it was compared to others, but it was pretty bad, enough that they knew that inclement weather was coming. There's one other golfer that fascinates me every week, can't get enough of. By the way, Cantlay was a great call by Eric. Shot a 65 today and might, depending on how this thing plays out, hover around the top 10 finish. But there's one golfer right now that I think is clearly the most popular golfer on tour, outside, of course, of the obvious, which is Tiger Woods. Now, Phil Mickelson, he gets a little asterisk next to him. Something, it's not typical Phil. And unfortunately, if Phil's not right there as he was for a day and a half, hovering around the leaderboard, then he's kind of an afterthought. And I don't think that's necessarily a rip, nor is it meant to be, but I think it's more a valid representation of how we feel about Phil right now until we see how he plays, how healthy he gets, and it's not just the match, but it's actual tour events. So I'm going to put Phil aside as well because he's a household name, and outside of Tiger Woods, he will be the most popular active name on tour. But I want you to think about this, and some of it is on the heels of what's happening right now with Dustin Johnson. My goodness, long putt from Mackenzie Hughes, birdie putt. Now, this is interesting because that moved him in sole position of fourth place. So guys are now hovering around that top 5 finish after that birdie putt by Hughes. So the point of it is, I think Bryson DeChambeau, I honestly think Bryson has done an amazing job. Some of it has to do with the consistency factor. I think this is 3 straight weeks that he's finished in the top 5. He definitely finished week 1 and week 3, top 10 every single week. We know that. And the big story, of course, was putting on all this weight and trying to manage it and coming through with a changed perception of increasing the driver speed, the club head speed, and everything that would get him more distance. 2 short courses in a row made no impact. He was able to handle it and then some. Tough putt by Dustin Johnson to leave it short. Man, something right now smells like playoffs. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not rooting for it. Since I took Dustin Johnson, there was the opportunity. Streelman leaving a birdie putt short. But I'm not rooting for this playoff since we took on the show last night at plus 200 before we got off of here, Dustin Johnson to win the whole thing. So it's refreshing for him to kind of bounce back, give us that 4 under that we needed. Hopefully he can stretch it. You get one more birdie in here. That should be enough. But that bogey on 16 has now opened up the door for Kevin Streelman, who on 18 must birdie. This is insane theater right here. And it's happening without Tiger Woods. And this isn't golf survive. This is wait until Tiger comes back. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with COVID and if there's going to be a sense of safety or not whenever he does return to the tour. But this is such an amazing warm-up act. And I feel like through the story of weight gain, that's clearly worked, to how well he's playing, to being a 24-year-old player on tour, 24, 25. He's really young. But I feel like Bryson would be right now the 3rd most popular. I guess Rory, but he's faded, man. Like not where we would expect him to be hovering without Tiger or a dominating force there. I think that's a reasonable expectation for Rory McIlroy to be hovering when you don't have a clear-cut favorite. And not to say that he should be involved in everything and should be a top 20 finish every single time. He didn't play poorly overall. He'll finish top 20, most likely. I can't imagine that there's a scenario here that would dump him out of it as he's hovering on to, he's tied for that group right before 20. The thing about McIlroy, I think we expected him to take advantage of this lull. There was this expectation that he wouldn't just be a guy in the pack. And so far, he really hasn't separated himself as a guy in the pack. And there are expectations upon other top golfers that haven't lived up to it as well. It wasn't a great knockdown tournament for Sergio. John Rahm, I don't know what the hell's happening with this guy, but the consistency matched with the expectations of coming into this season, a top 5 golfer in the world, has been far from it. And again, Rahm, McIlroy, these guys are not playing terribly. They're not missing the cut, but it is frustrating to watch, to not gain any real consistency, especially if we're talking about it from a betting standpoint. Not really being able to count on a level of consistency and knowing that there is that one round that's kind of hovering over either Rahm or McIlroy at this point. I don't think that's changed, to be honest with you. I don't think we really see much distinction between the two guys right now when you're talking about consistency out for 4 straight days. 1 round, 8 holes, driver. There are specifics you can try to minimize it as, but the true takeaway right now is we haven't seen either one of those guys step in and take advantage of that void. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show. Who is the third? I think it probably would be Rory, but I wouldn't be shocked if people answered Bryson, nor would I hate you for it. Take Tiger out, take Phil out. The first golfer that comes to mind on active duty on tour right now. Somebody who's playing, maybe not even today, but somebody who's playing. It's the weekend edition of the Second Level.
The Second Level.
That audio is ready for you of the golfer.
Okay.
Who gets?
Thanks, brother.
Did you want me to take the entire segment or just when you get introduced and on?
How long
Such as a
is
kid
my
is on
interview?
too.
Exactly.
Were you just on for one segment?
I don't know.
Okay, hang on.
How
I'm
does it
gonna go-
end? How does that one segment end?
I'll go back and listen to it real quick. Hang on.
Okay, I have no
See,
idea.
how
They run
hard
that on
was
different
that?
clocks, so I have
Yeah,
no
I
idea how
know.
it clocks here.
I know Andrew makes it fit though, so let me see if you were on for one segment or longer. Hang on.
Florentine, I'm literally saying during the quarantine, he made eggs for the first time ever.
Embarrassing. And he admitted it. And apparently the bacon went even worse.
And I still think he's cooking like 1 strip of bacon at a time, which blows my mind. Why not just cook the entire pack?
Yeah.
It's meat candy.
If it's
Jake?
a pound of bacon, then you might as well cook it.
Yeah, it's a pound of bacon. You need to pound that bacon.
The Second Level. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Headed to Texas to watch your team play, but don't know where to go for that pregame drink? Visit CultureMap.com for all of the hottest spots in Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and San Antonio. From the most popular bars to those favorite dine-in gems, Culture Map has it all. Then before you leave town, why not visit some of the best places to shop or see some of the sites? Culture Map has extensive coverage on all the things to do in the city you're in. So check out CultureMap.com. That's CultureMap.com.
Into the night.
My old partner in mullets and in great suits, the great Barry Melrose. Now, let me ask you about the hair, though, because you're not allowed to get haircuts. It's starting to open up now. So did the hair get really, really, really long? Because everybody, is complaining about I can't go to the barber. Is the mullet back?
I never got a haircut for the whole time, the whole pandemaniac. So it was getting pretty long. I don't know if I've had it longer, but it was pretty long.
I got to ask you, what product do you recommend? Because you got this nice, coif and slick back. What do you use?
Just a very high quality gel. And I'm giving you all these secrets before the season starts. Once the season starts, I got no time for that. I got to be
No, I
focused
know.
on
Listen,
the
this is what we need. It's like training camp.
Exactly.
We all want to look good when the puck drops, wherever the hell the puck is going to drop.
I got my work cut out for me. There's no doubt about that.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Hey everybody, RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com, your home for the best Dallas Cowboys coverage on the web. And did you know that we have a podcast feed? The Blog of the Boys podcast feed has daily episodes breaking down the latest and greatest in the world of America's team. We have multiple shows, multiple analysts, including a Super Bowl winner. 2-time Super Bowl champion Tony Casillas is part of our rotation, and we want to make sure you are as well. We're available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. So don't miss out. Subscribe to the Blog of the Boys podcast feed today.
This is SB Nation Radio.
And SBNationRadio.com.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios.
Mike's hot.
And
So there's been some rough shots. I don't think anything is as bad as, was it Sergio? Last time, I forget who it was, but Jordan Spieth, that's who it was. last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, 3-putted from 3 feet. That might be the most cringeworthy thing I've seen on anything so far in golf this year. But today was pretty rough. We had a couple of incredibly hard shots. I mean, Dustin Johnson had 2 feet in the water and tried to hit it out. He actually parred that hole, but he tried to hit it out and get it up there. Now, we have another piece of audio, and this is courtesy of Barstool. They ripped it from, I guess we have to credit CBS, right? But this is Hughes off a ridiculous shot in the rough. We have this, John, right? Wow, we'll get that up. This is insane. Where, I mean, think of I don't know if you saw Dustin Johnson with 2 feet in the water.
Sorry, I got it.
No, that's cool. It's cool. I know you're doing a bunch of things, so trust me, no problem at all. The greens have really sloped hard today. And if you miss a shot, then you're cooked. I mean, if you miss even a little bit as far as your speed, these things are going to run. So think of it this way, and you'll hear the audio of a ridiculous shot that tried to pull from this bunker, like right on top of the bunker in this really thick, nasty grass that's, I don't know, third cut in between the green and the bunker. But listen to how brutal it was. And this is across the board. It was tough today.
Uh-oh. Oh, my goodness. The old shankadoodle. Oh, not enough. And there it comes. I think he was. He had a previous, some weird follow through, didn't strike it.
Area, give himself some time to recover and reset.
Watch out. Watch out.
No.
I mean, it takes 6 shots just to get it on the green. It's a 7 in the book.
7. Now, that was on average for me today. So that is just something. And I wasn't shooting from the tips, right? And I didn't lose, or he didn't lose any balls. But that's how rough it was, just as far as a lot of the slopes. It was really tough to get around. We saw Dustin Johnson as well just struggle from the water and, trying to get through that. But man, that has to be cringeworthy. I don't know about anybody else. If you watch something like that and it just, I'm sorry, that was Brendan Todd. I don't know why I said it was anybody else, but that was just so difficult to watch, because you talk about the biggest way in which a golfer can humanize himself or herself on tour, right? The easiest and maybe most communicable way in which the golfer through a moment can become like us, can just become like us. And every now and again, bad shot. Look, these guys and women are hitting from the tips. The courses are really long. So every one of us, it would be a gigantic struggle just to hit consistently from as far out as they are. So off the tee, yeah, it's tough to control. A lot of guys will use driver, and that's what makes them insanely good, is how consistent they are with the driver. But it's when you get close. It's like what you just saw or heard, if you didn't watch it earlier, with Brendan Todd, where you're right next to the green. You could probably lay your club down from where Todd tried to chip in through that nastiness and still touch the green. And it took him 7 to complete that hole. 1 with the drive to get there, 2, 5 around the green. 5. That's anybody who's shooting 90 plus right there. Anybody who's hovering around. I played with a guy today who shot 82, and he had 2 holes like that. So that's when you know that there is this big difference between a guy with like a 13, 14 handicap and somebody who is scratch or better. Stuff like that doesn't happen. Moments like that don't get away from golf. Now, it happens on the PGA Tour because of the immense amount of pressure and stress on every single shot. You think it's tough to tee off with 3 or 4 people judging you from afar at your local club or your local course, public, or municipal, whatever it may be? Why don't you try doing it? That's why I had a little sympathy for Tom Brady. But this is an amazing level of stress that they deal with the magnitude of the moment every time they tee off. That right there at what you heard was as close to a human moment as you'll find by these aliens. They're all aliens. Anybody playing golf on the PGA or LPGA tour, they're not from here. They're not from this planet. Human beings can't play golf that well consistently. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe that anybody here under par is actually a human being.
Jay Farner here, CEO.
Okay, so I talked to Andrew. It looks like you were on for 25 minutes. So I'm gonna go through and find what I can and put it together and see if I can make it about 14 minutes or so.
Okay, and then I can close the show if you want.
Yeah, and all I would need is just for us to throw to it because it's going to be real hard to.
Yep. So what I can do in a break
go to
is I can do both. I can give you a quick throw, and then I can give you the final. If it's going to be like 2 minutes or so,
IRS. Okay,
I can give you that too. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
They put a lien on my house. The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal. We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who will get the IRS off your back.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Call Tax Solutions now. Time is running out. Call 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744. 800-296-9744.
My name is Megan Eddings, and I am not only the founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle, but I am the chemist who invented the Prima antibacterial face masks. Research shows that wearing a face mask will drastically reduce the spread of coronavirus. In some cities, wearing a face mask is mandatory. At Excel Lifestyle, we want to help keep you and your loved ones safe and healthy. Our masks actually exceed the CDC's recommendations as our masks are washable, soft, double layer for added protection, and even antibacterial. Hospitals such as Houston Methodist have purchased thousands of Excel Prima antibacterial masks to help their frontline healthcare professionals stay safe. To buy your mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCELLIFESTYLE.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your mask out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to BestHotelRates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. BestHotelRates.com, it's in the name. BestHotelRates.com.
This is SB Nation Radio,
And SBNationRadio.com.
presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios.
Mike's hot.
Gander.
So I need your help real quick, John, because Sean Tony at Sean Tony 10 tweeted us as it looks like Dustin Johnson has one more hole in order to not bogey. So Dustin Johnson pars or better, he wins this thing. And the plus 200 bet cashes, we can all go home happy. Man, I'm going to get to that UFC thing coming up this segment. I am not happy about a major upset last night because it crushed our parlay. And for the first time, now 6-3, for the first time, we actually have evidence and data out there that counters our theory of the heavy parlay. But before all of that, Sean Toney tweeted in. He's from Oklahoma City. We appreciate him listening. An SB Nation radio listener, what bumper music did producer John Belmer play at 2:58 and 4:12, which I imagine is 5:58 my time and 6:12, right? Do you know?
It would be 6:12 your time. Yeah.
Okay, so what did you play to open up the first big segment of the show? Do you remember? I don't.
I'd have to go back and look. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you play great music. You've got a good eclectic range.
Oh, thank you.
And you always speak to the old school hip hop head in me each show, and you play your own stuff as well. So maybe some of it loops and laps over, which is a great thing. But I always enjoy that. So I don't know if you watched after we were off the air, but there was a pretty big upset last night. And not only from a fight standpoint, but I think from an odds standpoint, maybe more so. And that was, I was surprised to say the least, but that was pretty impressive where we saw a minus 450 favorite get beat. I don't know how often that happens, but that was really depressing last night. Watching now, the main event I thought was pretty good. Did you watch the main event first and foremost?
I did watch the main event. It was fantastic.
Yes, it was a brawl. It came down to a decision, 5-round decision, and Hooker gave it all he could, but fell short. Now, submission in round 3, 2 minutes and 44 seconds into it, Julian Erosa must have been at least plus 330 on the return. He was high. He was above, if anything, and I'm waiting for my phone because it got too hot, so the iPhone now shut down. But if anything, he was high 200s, maybe 275, 280, or low 300s. But Woodson, the guy that he beat and Erosa beat, Woodson came in at least a 400 favorite. That was a gigantic upset. And I don't know what the hell happened where you had a guy knocked and just completely submit at that point. Third round, he couldn't even get out of that. That killed it. Doesn't even matter what happens with Ribas moving forward. Everything else, of course, hit. Nature of the game. Stayed away from the main event, but I couldn't believe it. Was out doing some things. Unfortunately, they didn't have the fight on, so I could not watch it. I was trying to pay attention, and I missed what happened with the Woodson and Erosa. I wake up this morning to double check that I didn't miss anything on a top 10 or top 5 finish here for the Travelers. And I go look at the DraftKings and I'm thinking, wait a second, and I know it wouldn't have cashed in because that one leg of Ribas was still out there, but are you serious? It's cooked. The thing fell apart. So I don't know. Maybe we were just riding a hot streak, or maybe there wasn't just enough data to counter our discovery. But now at 6-3, we have one of those loss columns on the 3 side where the parlay, usually we have the heavy parlay where we take 3 or 4 fights. And the rule is that everybody has to be ideally minus 275 or higher. Around 300 is a great place to start. And the key was, because the 2 times we lost, we went outside of this, but the key was the underdog was no lower than ideally 220. So if you had a fighter that was minus 310, but the guy or woman he's going up or she are going up against is plus 180, that's way too tight. And I made sure Erosa was a pretty high bet. I'll find this thing here for you in a second. At Shander Show, twitch.tv/Shander Show, 800-224-2004. It's funny, I do this doctor show with a doctor every week, and I put it on YouTube. You can follow me, the Shander Show page. Put it in my Philly Voice column, which comes out every week. And it's with a doctor who has been at the forefront of conversation and is not I know there's one doc everybody likes to talk to and go to, even though there's another doctor who's been talking for the last hour and 40 minutes or so, but that's fine. You go with whoever you want. But the point of it, the takeaway is that we try, and every week we do, to strip away the politics of how awful the politicizing of this virus maintains, and just talk about the data and talk about what's happening with COVID and how people can continue to take precautionary methods. So, of course, what happened initially, and we've done 14 of these, so we've been following along each and every week and bringing up what's been polarized and how to get around that with actual detail and data. So, of course, the latest polarization now has to do with masks and whether or not you should wear one. Of course, you should wear one. And anybody who's been following me on Twitter at Shanda Show for the last month to 2 months to 3 months, even the 14 weeks I've been doing the show before that, it's been a common message, wear it. But as we talk to this doctor each and every week and see areas like, unfortunately, Texas and Florida respond to spikes due to what appears, based on the data, to be a lot of younger people thinking, or based on what they were told, they're immune to this, they don't have to wear a mask, and even if they get it, they'll be okay. So immediately we downplayed that for the last 2 or 3 weeks and told young people it doesn't matter how young you are. If you're out in an area where somebody older or at high risk needs a mask, guess what? You need a mask as well. Anybody, doesn't matter if you're asymptomatic and 16 years old or if you're asymptomatic and 65 years old. It's not up for debate. It's everybody who's out in areas that would require interaction should wear that mask. And then, because it just got so politicized to you're either wearing one or you're not, and it was an attempt for people on Twitter, and make no mistake, this is what social media is you look at somebody's tweet and you can immediately tell who they are. You know who they are. You've never met them in your life, and you don't even know if they're using a real name, screen name, pic, whatever. But if you look at one of their tweets, then you know exactly who they are. You know who they vote for. You know their history. You know what side they stand on all of these issues, because you have already determined with your preconceived worldview how to fit somebody in it. It's very difficult to come upon someone and discussion or theory or conversation and realize that they fit in a different worldview that's not your own, nor the complete 180. Wow. Imagine that. Of course, Twitter is the best barometer for filth. And that's why I laugh and even bring this up, is because our conversation has shifted to telling the people who are already telling people to wear a mask to tell them a little more, to be more specific about it, and not simply just yell at people who you think are going to be listening to your tweet, even though they either don't follow you and don't know who you are, or you've probably muted the majority or blocked the majority of people that you're trying to reach. And that's the saddest irony of all of it, is these accounts that are quick to come back have really put out their own tweets to people that just already believe and follow what they're asking. So the push from the doctor, of course, and others in the medical profession world has been, be more specific. Explain that you need multiple layers of a cloth mask. Explain that a bandana is probably not going to be effective. Explain that the mask has to go over your nose. Explain that you can't wear it like a chin strap, just protecting what's even below your mouth. Explain that you should have and work to have, as tight as you can get it, some sort of sealant that protects any droplets, as small as those droplets can be. But that doesn't fit a lot in 140. So it's easier to just wear a mask and not give the actual data and detail. So, of course, and it's hilarious because there are people that I saw liking tweets and responding that have been following me for years, and it's impossible to follow my account and to see all of my tweets, the videos I put up, the columns that I write, the radio shows that we repurpose on podcast, and think that I've been anything other than super pro mask. But such is life. People come, people go. That's fine. I'm not worried about losing anybody, like I'm not worried about gaining anybody. But I did think it was funny how like 12 or 13 idiots and maybe 4 or 5 more morons who would just like tweets and not really interact thought that was me, and I guess anything else that I've been talking with, expressing to people to stop telling him to wear masks. Now, it was pretty easy to have a conversation, and there were 2 examples in which we had that conversation where I spoke to 3 or 4 followers, people I follow as well, and we were having a conversation, and there was a discussion because adults were on the keyboard. And I think it's hilarious that there are so many people who are just so trapped in their own point of view, and anything else is immediately the opposite point of view. And this was a perfect example of the poison that you get on Twitter and other social media sites, which is me asking my own echo chamber for more accountability was met with as me saying, stop doing it, as me being the opposite. Somebody called me a Clay Travis today because I was asking for people who were just yelling, wear a mask, to actually explain there's a lot more to it. Now, I don't know how that was misconstrued as telling people to not wear masks, specifically when I have 14 weeks of a YouTube show where I'm asking a doctor a question after question after question. This doctor happens to have created a surgery, bloodless surgery that's used all over the world now. As a result of the AIDS epidemic, he's written many pieces since 2016 through last year, warning about respiratory epidemics and how dangerous they can be and how prevalent they can be in the air in our society and how damaging it can be if not properly mitigated. So it's not like I just pulled a dentist and said, well, DDS doctor, you can move that. There's actually somebody who's pretty involved in that, and especially in Florida, where we've seen an amazing resurgence that really speaks volumes to where we are with this virus. So that's why I open it up. 800-224-2004. Richard is in West Virginia. Hey, Richard.
Since apparently you've talked to a lot of different doctors, as far as getting specific, I listen to Dr. Fauci and a lot of them. I watch a lot of CNN. The only thing they say is you're supposed to wear a mask to protect somebody else, not to protect yourself. Now, I don't really know but they're not really getting specific of why you need a mask. And the one problem I have, it just has to do with a local host who has a bunch of experts come on there, and he says things like that a mask is as useless as a raincoat in a hurricane. And he says most of the people, they just wear, he said if he had to wear a mask to go into a place to wear a mask, and they told him to wear a mask, he'd walk out of the place. And it's just like...
Well, don't listen to that person. Who is it? Out him. Who's telling you that? Give me his name. What's the person's Twitter account?
What's his name? You want to know his name?
Yeah. If somebody with a platform is telling you to not wear a mask, there is nothing that medical science would back right now dealing with this specific epidemic/pandemic that would indicate that wearing a mask would be damaging or detrimental. Yeah, who is it?
His name is David Bloomquist. They call him Bloom Daddy.
All right. Well, now you know to never listen to him. Richard, thank you, brother. I appreciate the phone call. Never listen to that person again. And Richard's in West Virginia. There are other people listening in West Virginia as well. That person doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. You're not going to find any doctor who has dealt with infectious diseases, specifically respiratory diseases, and telling you that not wearing a mask is the right thing to do. In fact, if you look at what's happened over the last 2 to 3 months, more data has come in and reinforced it. We'll wrap the hour next on the weekend edition of the Second Level.
Pushing the odds.
DJ with the finish.
I want to talk. What?
Yo, I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize. What?
No, yeah, Sean Toney. Yeah. Okay. He's been giving me. I don't know if he gives a lot of the other producers problems, but he gives me specifically problems all the time about the bumper music.
Dealing with the fiber, and my wife is here. I don't know why. Why is mommy letting you in here, Madeline?
Telling you not to.
Like, he would ask me every single day, 3 times a show for the same music, and so I stopped replying to him. And so he started sending me like 30 or 40 DMs per show about asking the bumper music. So I blocked him. So he called David Gow, Craig Larson.
Jeez.
he sent me 3 handwritten letters. Like, this dude is just. Like,
I got you. Now I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with him, but.
Pushing the odds with Matt.
I thought I had told you that. I guess not.
1 to 4 Eastern on SB Nation Radio.
No, that's okay, man.
Now I know.
Pharrell.
I like hearing the Bundesliga players chirping and the coaches yelling.
This is one of those things, I guess.
In German.
I got the interview cut down to 16 minutes and 27 seconds.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna have to cut an answer and a question, question and an answer out, or we can run it at the 12. It's up to you.
No, let's run it at the 40. That's fine.
I'll cut out another question and answer.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Into the
No problem.
Now imagine how pissed off Bryce Harper must have been while he's playing Fortnite with the bros. And he gets dropped in. All of a sudden, his computer beeps, and you have a new message.
Right. Incoming email.
Incoming email from the commissioner. And then he says, bros, I got to stop the Fortnite, man. I'm kicking ass here. I got to put down my joysticks. Brah. By the way, that's Snell Bra, man. That dude, that's my boy right there. And he's got to read a 67-page report, Harry.
There's no way Snell Bra made it to page 3. Okay? Let's be real.
Snell Bra probably opened the first page and said, screw this.
He's not getting paid $7 million to read this.
Hell no. 67 pages. You got to pay me double what I was supposed to get.
And then I'm getting taxed?
It's just not worth it, man. It's just not worth it.
I mean, I'm only getting paid to read 20 pages of it.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. Into the Night.
Now, what's the time difference in New Zealand and Australia down on?
I have no idea.
18 hours or something crazy like that. Let's see.
We can bet on something before it happens. We'll know.
That's typically what you do, is betting on something before it happens.
That's usually how it works.
About the other way.
If you can figure out how to bet on something that's already happened, like it didn't happen, tell me how to do that.
Into the Night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. This is SB Nation Radio.
And SBNationRadio.com.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here.
Mike's hot.
So this is funny. I'm not going to have enough time to explain it, but just know, John, that since we're live on the stream, our buddies who are following along on Twitch, one of them, Bo316, who's a great listener and follower and interactor on Twitch, made reference, I'll explain in the break, but made reference to the issue that you were going through that you brought light to me, and reminded me with his Twitch comment that the local station that I used to work for, a different one that I work for now in Philly, had like 3 of those guys. And to the point in which it was ridiculous, where every single person was getting something in the, I mean, it was over the top. So yes, you are not alone, my friend. Hearts go out to you. And it's not a little violin, all right? People can sympathize with what you're going through. Anybody in Philly can, I can promise you that. Oh, that's great. I completely forgot about that.
It's cool, man.
That's hilarious. We had a guy like that here. We had 2 guys like that here.
You find them everywhere, man.
Unbelievable.
Please, God, if it does come to that, can we have the Walking Dead zombies, not the World War Z?
Yeah, I don't need the fast-moving
superhuman.
Ooh.
For a while, we thought we were getting trolled.
You bring because secretly.
And then also he follows a couple other radio stations too, so we thought maybe he was somebody doing some kind of copyright infringement enforcement or something like that.
Man,
but it's been too long and too weird, so it's real. I don't know.
Wake up call! So back to baseball.
Doesn't it feel like Groundhog Day?
It does. Every day, same thing. Every day there's a little bit of news.
Yeah.
So I bring you a little bit of news. But I feel like I'm on a streak that I don't want to break. I got to bring something to the table about the Major League Baseball negotiations every day. Otherwise, I'll feel like I lost it. The day I don't do it
is the day that we're talking about first pitch.
Yeah, exactly, when they're finally coming back. So Rob Manfred said yesterday there will be 100%, he guarantees there's 100% chance there'll be baseball.
Who's shaving?
So how can he be so sure that he's going to do this? To refresh the course, it's so funny. I feel like I've repeated this 1,000 times.
We should just play yesterday and the day before,
exactly.
the day before
Just
segment.
take a break. We need a break. You're right. It's like Groundhog's Day, except I'm not getting better at a particular skill. I haven't learned to ice sculpture with a chainsaw yet.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. The Jake Asman Show.
Tennis, you only make noise in between the actual game of tennis being played. I mean, everyone's dead silent, so you could hear these tennis players go, ugh, or if it's a woman, it's ah, and it's a real. I love a real grunter when they play tennis. Ugh, ugh, ugh. You know, there's gamblers out there that are starving for content. We might have some prop bets on some grunts.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern. Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault.
Tim Brando on Twitter to follow him, joining us on the Progressive guest line. People are saying without students on campus, you can't play college football.
We can thank Mark Emmert for opening his mouth and inserting foot. Mark Emmert has no jurisdiction really over college football, but there's a little thing called the 1984 Supreme Court lawsuit won by the Universities of Georgia and Oklahoma that forced the NCAA out of the financial realm of college football. It's like the guy in the California system making this sweeping statement about nothing but online classes later in the year, and he's making the decision with data in May. These guys that just want to see their names in print making bold decisions that they don't have to make, they illustrate what happens with misuse of power. And the real leaders are doing the right things behind the scenes, and then they'll make their splash when the time comes. And I'm telling you, I think that time will be sometime next month.
Pushing the Odds with Matt Perrault. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 4 Eastern on SB Nation Radio. Game Time Decisions.
I'm Gabriel Morency, inviting you to join me and the Raging Redhead, Cam Stewart.
Hey, I just sent you another piece of audio. It's a putt from Mackenzie Hughes.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
We've got your back. Weekdays at 6. We throw it down. Best bets. Prop. If they're playing, we'll find a number on it. Bring it. Weekdays at 6. SB Nation Radio. Game Time Decisions.
Game Time.
Is it a bar stool?
And Cam Stewart. Weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, all right, I'm going to grab it.
Into the night.
Tim Kirchin on the line with us from ESPN. You've been around this a lot.
What do you want for the hour 2 tweet?
Two sides trying to get together to figure out how to restart their sport?
No, Tony, I haven't. I covered the
let's do
81
golf's bad beat of the weekend.
Stories every 20 minutes, seemingly, but that's what we have here, and this is why it's so much more difficult to make a deal, because everything that comes out becomes a gigantic thing. Just a small note becomes a big story, and that's just the nature of our business day. But you don't have to go that far back when Michael Weiner ran the Players.
That's fine. And then we can promote.
That CPA was negotiated, and no one really knew that they were really underway, and suddenly it was over. That's the way it should be, but it certainly doesn't work.
We can just do that.
Today.
Golf's bad beat.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern.
Will Ray, right?
Yes. Okay, cool.
The Cowboys want to make Dak the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Dak wants to make the most money. Essentially, every guy in the league that's a quarterback's making somewhere between 25 and 35 million. Aren't they all making fat money? And aren't they all the eventual demise? These contracts with quarterbacks, the demise of football teams. When you have to pay one guy that much money, it breaks up the team.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. Pharrell.
The Cowboys want to make Dak the second highest paid quarterback in the league. Dak wants to make the most money. Essentially, every guy in the league that's a quarterback's making somewhere between 25 and 35 million. Aren't they all making fat money? And aren't they all the eventual demise? These contracts with quarterbacks, the demise of football teams. When you have to pay one guy that much money, it breaks up the team.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern.
My name is Megan Eddings, founder and CEO of Excel Lifestyle. Research shows that wearing a face mask drastically reduces the spread of the coronavirus. Excel Lifestyle's Prima antibacterial face masks are soft, washable, and double layer for added protection. To purchase you and your loved one's face mask, please go to excellifestyle.com. That's ACCEL lifestyle.com. Once we receive your order, we will ship your masks out immediately. Thank you and stay safe.
This is SB Nation Radio. SB Nation Radio.
And SBNationRadio.com.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage is with you every step of the way. Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios.
Mike's hot.
Second hour, and we have a final. We're going to get to this amazing putt, but a pretty bad beat overall for everybody else. Holding on to, it looked like 4 or 5 different golfers hovering around the top 5. Let you hear that coming up in 6 minutes. Will Gray from the Golf Channel is going to join us 7:40 Eastern tonight. We do have a plan by the NBA. We're supposed to get to that in the first hour, but things happen. Life happens on this show. The NBA is planning to let players show social justice messages on their jersey, which, let me start by saying, it's a great opening. That's a great first step. But I was thinking about this, and there are multiple ways in which you can take this and expand it and really maximize a platform. That would be where I would begin, saying, okay, well, we have now the NBA sanctioning this, which is really a no-brainer. You're talking about uniforms and a name on the back. That's not really anything that is going to change anything legally in contracts with how things are set up, nor is it going to change the presentation of the game. It's a good idea. It is a good idea. Now, this is also on the heels of another NBA story where Rudy Gobert was patient zero, as we know, in the NBA, at least the first positive public test that we knew about in the NBA. So initially he was misquoted. Jared Smith up in Boston, who did a really good job of kind of changing the narrative from what people were misquoting to what actually was happening. The actual quote is a little different than Jared Weiss. I apologize. Jared Smith is our buddy from Sports Grid. Jared Weiss is the guy who tweeted it, covers all things Celtics and NBA for The Athletic, and tried to explain the difference of what the misquote was versus the actual quote. But we can start there. Now, we'll update you. Dustin Johnson has won. So first and foremost, this was a brutal beat for everybody else except anyone who had Mackenzie Hughes. But they didn't really need it, to be fair. Also, the NBA with a really good idea that just needs to expand and what we can take away from where Rudy Gobert is right now.
The final season of inventory is happening now at Copperleaf. Experience the finest in traditional Western living and great outdoor recreation with your gorgeous 1 to 3 plus acre mountainside home site, priced from only $79.9. Plus, for a limited time, pay no closing costs. This spectacular mountain paradise offers pristine Rocky Mountain views, private access to the historic Shoshone River for incredible blue ribbon trout fishing, a prime location next to the entrance of Yellowstone Park for hiking, sightseeing, and nature walks, plus modern amenities including central water and sewer, underground electric, and more. During your private Copperleaf tour, you can choose to drive your own vehicle or take advantage of our safe and sanitary tour options. Call 866-935-2636 and ask how to take a live video tour of your beautiful 1 to 3 plus acre mountainside home site, priced from only $79.9 at Copperleaf. Don't wait. 866-935-2636 to take a live video tour of Copperleaf or visit copperleafwyoming.com.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
This is an urgent health notice for all residents suffering from back, neck, knee, and wrist pain. You may qualify for a pain-relieving brace at little or no cost to you, but the deadline is fast approaching. Simply call the Health Alert Hotline now.
You heard right. You may qualify for a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace. These items may even be covered by Medicare or your private insurance. The Health Alert Hotline is your brace company. These specialized braces have been tested for pain relief. Call us toll-free right now to determine your eligibility and to learn how to use your private insurance or Medicare to minimize your out-of-pocket cost. Don't wait. If the deadline passes, you may lose your opportunity to get a pain-relieving back, neck, knee, or wrist brace at little or no cost to you.
800-608-1881. 800-608-1881. 800-608-1881.
Hey, did you send me the same cut twice?
608-1881.
Last night?
Yeah, I think I accidentally did.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure.
I didn't know if the first one went through.
No, you're all good, brother. All good.
This is SB Nation Radio.
Oh, you got that
And
huge putt,
SB
right?
Nation Radio.
It's in the system. I'm waiting for it to pop up right now.
Okay, just let me know when you have
I
it.
will.
Thanks,
I had to
man.
go record it. Mike's hot.
So we're done. Dustin Johnson has won, holds on, and it was tight. He had that late bogey, and you thought maybe after shooting 4 under and then the delay, all he really needed to do was close out 16, 17, and 18. But it's not easy with any rain delay in any sport, especially golf, where you're working and you're having that momentum that was cut short. Will Gordon had a hell of a day today, shooting 6 under. It's just unfortunate that he blew up on Saturday. Not blowing up on Saturday, he's got a chance to win this.
All right, I got it.
The big moment came. This is tough. This is not as simple of an unpacking of a bad beat as what we saw where Xander was set. Now, he's still top 5 finish. That's great. But Xander was on the 71st hole 2 weeks ago and missed a putt that would have surely secured a spot for him in the playoff that was eventually lost by Colin Morikawa after him missing a putt similar in fashion that Xander did. Terrible beats. Both right there, just terrible. These are easy putts, and they're essentially to force a playoff and then continue the playoff, and neither guy could do anything. This time around, and we'll want you to hear this audio, and I'll explain it a little bit as far as what happened as a result of this putt, but Mackenzie Hughes was a really good golfer this weekend. He just happened to have one day that stood out more so than anybody else, shooting that 60 on Thursday. But it does go to show you that if you can hover, and he got lucky today more so than anything, but still 2 off the lead. That shows you how much of an impact that 9 or 10 under can have day one if you're able to just can keep it consistent. If you're able to hover around 2 to ideally 3 under, and then if you really push it 4 or 5 under, well, then you should be leading by a little bit. Hughes couldn't do that. It's so difficult to duplicate that 60 is going to be asking too much from anybody. So 2 under par on Friday. 2 under par. 2 under par on Saturday. You have no idea what that was from, right?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
Jackie Childs on Seinfeld in the Caddy episode where Kramer is explaining how he can't play golf anymore and he's up on the stand and he's suing because I think the Caddy is also, the Caddy is also the episode in which the O. Henry woman, the heir to the O. Henry candy bar, Diane Mishkin, something like that. And of course, she's walking down the street with the bra that Elaine gave her. The story is a web of comedy. And Kramer's looking at her walking down the street without a bra. They crash into something. He hurts his neck or his shoulder. He can't play golf anymore. And Jackie Childs in the initial interview is asking what Kramer shoots. And he's like 300. I think it says 2 under par. 2 under par. It's a pretty good score. So with all of that said, this was a ridiculous birdie putt by Mackenzie Hughes, but it's what happened as a result that made it more of a bad beat for, let me count, at least, 5 different golfers, including me, who took a top 5 finish for Kizzieri after our discussion last night, knocked out. Bryson, top 5 finish, knocked out, all because of this putt by Mackenzie Hughes.
This was happening at the same time as Brendan Todd.
Just look where he had to start this ball here.
That's incredible, Trev.
This is pretty cool imagination here, Ian. This is looking good.
Oh, what a putt there for Mackenzie Hughes.
So at the time, Mackenzie Hughes is 16 under. And you have one other golfer that's right there, but the top 5 is still intact. You still had a top 5 finish for Armour, Steele, Kizzieri, Stallings, and Bryson. But because he elevated his score and separated, because what you had was 1, 2, 3, tied for 4, tied for 5. That changed where you had a sole possession of 5th place, where he was initially, Kevin Na, tied for 4th. So both Hughes and Na were tied for 4th, and that opened up that 5-way tie for 5th. Well, since Hughes hit and this putt was ridiculous. The way in which he had to line up for that putt was insane. I mean, I'm going to follow this through with you, John. Let's do this again. If you can, let's rewind that cut here. And I want to just explain what's happening as you're listening. I'll try and fill in the gaps to explain how far away this ball was from the pin, not necessarily from where Mackenzie Hughes started, but from where he had to hit it. So here is this ridiculous putt.
This was happening at the same time as
he hits
Todd.
that ball straight
Start this ball here.
to the left.
That's incredible, Trev.
This is pretty
And
cool
it takes a
imagination
hard
here. This is looking
right
good.
and then dips down.
Oh, what a putt there.
That putt is
Mackenzie
unheard
Hughes.
of. The dip on that putt. So let's just say, for hypothetical purposes, he is 30 feet out from his feet where the ball is, straight line to the cup is 30 feet. He must have hit that ball 15 feet to the left, at least 15, 20 feet to the left of the cup. He hit it, and he slowly watched it climb and then drop on the slope, and then it rolls in. Looked like it had some heat behind it, not Guy Fieri heat, but it looked like it had some heat to where maybe if he missed it, would have been a difficult putt to follow up. Par putt, technically, since that was a birdie putt. But this is the craziness of that putt itself. Think about the layers involved here. First, from Hughes, it was enough to have him tie now, but still, he's got a top 3 finish based off that putt. And it was enough to finish just 3 under, but following 2 straight 2-unders. Now, with a 7 off 3 days, that 10 just looks so difficult to achieve and such a relief. So Hughes is able to get around that. Okay. But look at the ripple effect. And again, I just implore you, if you haven't seen this thing, go out, wait for the break. If you're driving, pull over. Make sure that you're at a complete stop. You can find this anywhere, on Twitter, online, anywhere. The putt was insanely difficult. And the ripple effect was not just Hughes landing that and moving up 2 spots, but also moving away. A couple of guys who were pretty good locks, or at least you were giving up. You had to lay in order to get Bryson as a top 5 finish. Now, I think we actually took Kizzieri as a top 10. Let me double check here. But 5 golfers knocked out of top 5 finishes as a result of that. That is insanity in its own right. That's a bad beat. I honestly believe, and I know that the definition gets stretched all the time, but that's, I think, truly a bad beat where it wasn't the golfer himself or herself. It wasn't the actual golfer who lost it for you like Morikawa or Xander did 2 weeks ago. But you were victim of somebody else, and that putt doesn't go in. I mean, what percentage do you think Mackenzie Hughes or anybody on tour makes that putt? John, you've seen it because we've replayed it now twice. You also had to put it in the system. So you've seen this thing at least 3 times. You don't have to be a scratch golfer. I shot a 111 in my club today. So trust me, you don't need to be good at all to understand how difficult that putt is. But you watch sports, you watch golf, you bet on stuff. On average, how many in one out of how many golfers on tour? I'll even give you that on tour. PGA, LPGA. And that was like, what, a 45-foot putt or so. And he hit it 15 to 18 feet to the left of the cup and watched it sink. How often do you think somebody can do that?
Not very often at all. I mean, you have to really know what you're looking for in the grass and be able to tell where it's going to dip to be able to even attempt that.
It's ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
And then you have to know the exact, think about that. I know it was a little hot, but there still is that window where you can hit the ball hot and it can hit the cup or the top of the pin and go in because, of course, it's not fast. It's not too fast. So, yeah, he had to whack it a little bit to get it up that hill. But think of what you laid out just now, where you have to have the proper gauge and the reading of the break initially. And then you have to hit it pretty much just right. And there's not much room for error. Was it 100% hit right? No, but it was probably like 97% hit right. So that alone, like those two things happening, it's unheard of. That's a Hail Mary right there. Somebody got knocked out. My top 5 Bryson bet got knocked out because of a Hail Mary putt. And the worst part about it is it didn't really do anything outside of personally for Hughes, give him a top 3 finish, which is impressive. Don't get me wrong, but we're not talking about the ridiculous. That's how he won. Dustin Johnson winning is another story, but that putt was the bad beat of the weekend. I'm sorry. That alone, watching and I know that I can't be the only one. And again, these are names. If you took any of these 5 golfers to finish top 5 before that putt, they were all tied for 5th. Armour, Steele, Kizzieri, Stallings, Big Bryson, big body Bryson. 15 under, you thought it was enough. Yeah, okay, Dustin Johnson pulling away a little bit, but 15 under, that should be enough. It wasn't. It wasn't even close. Because one putt right here knocked them all out. I don't think I've seen something like that to the effect of the leaderboard having that big of a ripple. That was insane. Again, it's one thing to look at just the putt and just the accomplishment, and rightfully so, you should be. But wow, after sinking that ridiculous, and he had another one too that was pretty long, but after sinking that ridiculous putt, it was kind of like, all right, that's how we went out. And you're thinking, wow, I was enjoying it. I'm watching the highlight. This is amazing. What a putt by Hughes. He was able to really bounce back and put together a 3 under. It's been difficult ever since that 60. That's pretty impressive. And then I look at the leaderboard and see my guy Bryson get knocked out of the top 5 and think, oh, man. Like that? At least bogey. I would have felt better if my guy and Bryson or any of your guys that you bet that were knocked out of that position, I would have felt 1,000 times better if it were something that Xander, like he did, or Morikawa did. I don't know about that, actually. You know what? Let me think about that. Let me think about what's worse to see a bet fail on. The 2 scenarios you have, for example, a top 5 finish where Mackenzie Hughes, amazing, improbable birdie putt, knocked your guy and anybody else you bet on out, or the guy you bet on, the golfer, because it could be in the LPGA as well, the golfer that you bet on does something themselves to knock themselves out. So it's either somebody else did something and not just made a birdie. It's not just, oh, well, he made a birdie on 16. No, this was something you won't see again for a little bit, maybe in a couple of weeks or so. But the level in which he had to putt that, and then the gauge of the green, the read of the green, and the execution on the speed made it near to the point in which you thought nobody can make that. And he did it. Hughes did it. So think about what's worse. And again, I brought it up in hour one for anybody, I don't know, like the 12 or 13 people that had issue with the tweet that clearly wasn't what they thought it was. I open up these lines for you as well. 800-224-2004. It's the weekend edition of the Second Level. Hey,
Jake
I'll be right
Asman
back.
Show.
Okay.
I just got an email from Walmart that this bicycle I've been trying to order, a specific model of bike. I want a bike. I want to just have something to do in the afternoons when I'm free after I do the show. So I'm like, oh, I'll buy a bike. It'll be fun to ride around my neighborhood. There's some bike trails nearby. This will be great. My idea to get a bike started during the quarantine period when I wanted to get some exercise because all the gyms were closed. Here was the problem. Everyone had the same idea. There were no bikes left in the city of Houston. I kid you not. I was told by someone at a local sporting goods store that there was a national bike shortage. That just changed 2 minutes ago. I received an email that the bikes are back in stock starting July 10th. I'm very excited. I'll be the Lance Armstrong of sports radio, but without the steroid stuff. And hopefully without the testicular cancer as well.
The Jake Asman Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11 Eastern. Introducing AutomotiveMap.com, a brand new website for anyone interested in what's happening in the world of automobiles. From reviews on the latest vehicles to vintage rides to tips on keeping your family safe on the road, AutomotiveMap.com has something for you. If you love cars, trucks, and SUVs, and the amazing technology hitting your favorite showroom, check out the brand new AutomotiveMap.com.
Wake up call. Elon Musk is a brilliant guy. We'd all agree, right?
Oh, yeah.
Have we talked about what he named his kid?
No, I don't think we ever did.
How do you pronounce this? I mean,
I don't know. I can't wait till this kid's old enough and he goes, I'm changing my name to Michael. And they go, oh, yeah, what was your name before? I'm Elon Musk's kid.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Do we have to call him the artist formerly known as Elon Musk?
Yeah,
baby?
exactly.
I
You
say
might
it.
know my dad as this super brilliant billionaire scientist. I know him as a lunatic that named me an unpronounceable name.
What I want to know is when they yell at him, what are they saying?
Yeah, right. If I'm his kid, I know until you can properly pronounce this nonsense, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. How about that? So good luck, Mom and Dad. I'm going to go smoke and drink and drive a car at 10. Bye.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. Into the night.
Seriously, now.
Are we done with this yet?
Not yet. What do you mean, are we done? You called here. You want me to be like a regular talk show host and just hang up on you and run him? Should I run him?
Rack him.
No, I'm not racking him.
They're not racking him.
Jim Rome only racks great calls. He has to take time.
So
I think that's going to be my new thing. You know, you had to take or two, but for the most part, I got to run you.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10
What's
Eastern.
do you know how much time you need after Tony?
I'm actually adding it all.
Oh, yeah.
up right
No
now.
worries. No worries. No worries at all.
This is SB Nation Radio,
And SBNationRadio.com.
presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's
Mike's that.
All right. Well, we're going to get back to the PGA in 10 minutes, chat with Will Gray, the Golf Channel, kind enough to come back with us. And a bunch of things happening as we had more golfers test positive, have to withdraw from the Travelers, what that means moving forward as well. Now, this is the first time this has ever happened to me in my life. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of if I've ever had this before in my life. Never since I've clearly my life meaning being on the radio. But I was unable to eat anything really at all until just now. And before that, I think I had like a bite of a soft pretzel. And before that, I think I had like a protein bar at, I don't know, 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. So, and I'm at 7:30 Eastern. So it's been a light day for me, not on purpose, just out and doing different things. And it was just hard for me to grab a bite and then come back here. And then I'd hate to really eat before a show. And this is obvious reasons, as I'll explain it. So I ran up, told John I'll be right back, run up, leave the studio, and grab some of these tenders. You know, it's from, I always tell myself, right, if I can get something like a breaded chicken tender from Whole Foods, then it's got to be healthy, right, because of where it's coming from. It's just a breaded chicken tender. So I was starving to the point where I was like, I'm going to faint if I don't eat anything. So I race up and microwave these suckers real quick, come down, and I inhaled one. So far, so good, but I had the hiccups as I was trying to talk to John coming back on the air. Now, granted, that was off the air, so anybody
Is that
on the
why
stream,
you said, uh-oh?
Yes. That's exactly why I said,
wondering what that was.
No, it was, uh-oh, you might have to fill in a couple of, because nobody wants to hear me hiccup on the air. People will think I'm drunk if they haven't already, right?
Were you playing golf today?
I was, yeah.
Well,
every day. It's what you're saying, I should have eaten out there?
No, I'm saying you might have been drinking while you're playing golf.
No. When I see, this is the biggest deterrent for me to drink while playing golf is when I have a show. No, Thursdays and Fridays. If I can get out Thursdays and Fridays, normally those are light days for me, Thursdays and Fridays, where I have the second level. We're done at 1:00 Eastern, and then that's it. It's like a weekend for me. Now, these shows, they air a little later in the day on Saturday and Sunday, so I do have to be responsible throughout. No, I just pound water when I'm out there on Saturdays and Sundays. I see, every now and again somebody will drink or anything like that. I don't even tempt fate, all right? Don't even paint me as that guy tempting fate. A couple of White Claws. Come on. You can get by with that. Or what's a shot of whiskey on the third hole? It'll be out of your system by 17, right? None of that. Now, I've noticed that the more I drink, clearly the worse I get. Yet today and even yesterday, it didn't matter. Sober as a rock, yet struggle. So who knows? Maybe I should drink more, but I can't before the show because that would be a bad radio host. Can't go out there for 4 hours and pound White Claws, come back and say, all right, let's do a radio show. It's no good. I've never done that before, and I can't imagine how bad of a nightmare it would be. It's tough. It's tough to just check your head normally when you have an idea of what you're going to say and you can control what you're going to say. But no, I guess that would be the biggest misconception about if I were to hiccup on the air, right? Would be people thinking, man, this dude, what was he drinking out there? Was he drunk? What was he drinking?
Well, after that promo, we know what you're drinking.
White Claw.
White Claws. Yep.
Have you had any?
I have never tried White Claw, no.
Okay, you probably haven't tried it because of the same reason why I haven't tried it, right? It's because it's associated with just ridiculousness and, all that, like the White Claw nonsense in the videos that you see of people hanging out in the Hamptons, right? Is that the reason, or is it just because you don't like seltzer?
It's part of it. Around here locally, when we had our little party last year for the station, they were everywhere and everybody was, propping up the White Claws, but it's not my thing to go with the hype. So yeah, no, I'm a Dos Equis guy, so I don't really.
That's
really
the thing.
Seltzer.
I can't, me neither, but until I tried it. And now, see, you'll wait until you see, all right? You hit 42 and all of a sudden things that would just leave your body after you ate or drank it kind of hang around a little bit. And the more you work out, the less you see it have an immediate impact. You think, wait a second, I'm eating better, I'm working out more, yet I have one thing and it's like, boom, balloons. But trust me, the metabolism will slow down at one point. You're a young man. All right, go out there and enjoy as many Dos Equis as you can. That's an insanely good beer. I recommend it to anybody who doesn't drink it. But with that said, this is like at 5% alcohol, it's seltzer.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. It's the same alcohol volume as a beer, but it's seltzer. You know how much damage? What do you put? You go out with the fellas or you go out on, with your friends, could be mixed, whatever, that's fine. You put down, 4, 5, maybe 6 on a good night, 8 Dos Equis?
Yeah, probably about 5 or 6.
Okay,
yeah.
But still, the beer, think about the difference of it hanging with you versus the seltzer. You're drinking seltzer. I'm telling you, nothing weighs on you. The only thing you have to do is just cover it up with your hand. Now, to be fair, there are beer companies that make seltzer, right? Doesn't Corona make this?
Ooh, I don't know.
Would you drink a Corona seltzer?
Probably not. I'm not a huge fan of Corona.
Corona makes hard seltzer. 0 carbs, 0 sugars, 90 calories.
Now, see, that's enticing.
Well, that's what the White Claw is.
I know.
I mean,
it's the hype around it. I need to try a White Claw then.
I tell you what, is there something that you would like me to try, and then maybe we can do this thing together?
I don't know what you haven't tried or not.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's something maybe it's a show. Is there a movie or a show? Because I'm asking you to try. I guarantee it's like the Lay's chips. You crack one of these White Claws. Now, what's your favorite flavor? Do you like lemon? Are you lemon lime? Are you a mango guy? What do you like? Black cherry?
Jalapeno.
I don't think I can find that. What about like a lemon lime? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. We'll chat with Will Gray next, and we'll try to get John to drink a White Claw before we get out of here.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows. So when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage,
hey,
yeah,
every client.
So I got it down to 14 minutes.
Okay.
So all I need is a 20-second intro from you.
Okay.
Just saying, hey, this was my interview with Tony Bruno or this, whatever, about 20 seconds. And then the final segment, I only need about 35 to 38 seconds.
That's it?
That's it, because we're going to go to break around 14.
You tell me how much you need.
Yeah, that's all I need.
40 seconds?
About 40 seconds,
Got
yeah.
Help Desk connects with.
So 20 seconds and 40 seconds.
Fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
I'll do
Don't
that.
let
at
insurance
8.
company take advantage of you.
Okay, cool.
On my end.
Beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-528-6859. 800-528-6859. That's 800-528-6859.
Over 2.5 million airline passengers fly every day in the United States. Those passengers depend on reliable airplanes, and those planes need certified aircraft technicians. That's where you come in. We are the Aviation Institute of Maintenance, and we train tomorrow's technicians. We train our students hands-on with real aircraft, develop their skills, and prepare them for real jobs in the industry. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reports the average aircraft technician in the United States makes over $62,000 a year.
The job opportunity is there. The money is there.
If you want to work with your hands, it's a perfect place for you.
Call 800
All right, he's on board.
0097.
I'm very impressed with the
What are you pounding in the break?
demands of the industry.
Water?
Man, that course, it's a valley, and then there are like 2 holes that are in the actual valley, and then 16 are up on these hills. So there's never any flat surface. It's Huntington Valley here in PA, and it's just, I'm trying to learn how to play on one of the hardest courses in the area by a mile. So
that'll make you better.
I'm out. Oh, yeah. If I go anywhere else, but I'm paying to play here, so why go anywhere else?
This is
That's true.
Right? So, well, why don't you go somewhere else? I'm like, I'm not
Presented
going anywhere
by Rocket
else.
Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Live from Hart Studios.
Mike's hot.
Ender.
Starting to roll now. A couple of tournaments under our belt, looking at the PGA, and it was a tough week for sure. Balancing out golfers withdrawing from the Travelers, a couple of big names, and even mid-tournament withdrawing as well, with the amazing theater that we got right down again, it seems like, to the final hole or two. Rain delay as well, and how much that might have played an impact right to Mackenzie Hughes' putt that knocked a bunch of people out of a top 5 finish. So we go to the Progressive Guest Line. Welcome back, great mind in golf and beyond, because we had a chance to talk about a bunch of other things with Will Gray, who covers all things golf at the Golf Channel. Will, of course, at Will Gray, GRAYGC on Twitter, golfchannel.com. Eitan Shander, SB Nation Radio. Will, first and foremost, thanks for being back with us. Hope all is well. Continue to be well with you and yours.
Yeah, Eitan, good to be with you. We talked last week. We made it another week. The PGA Tour's made it another week. Right now, that feels like a victory on a lot of fronts.
It does, and I feel like every week, maybe we just got lucky. I doubt we did, but every week we have drama and theater coming right down to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some of the drama this week might have been more drama than Dustin Johnson would have liked. It kind of down the stretch there. It seemed like what a single-digit handicapper might look like trying to close out a 2 or 3 shot lead on the PGA Tour. I mean, he is hitting in spots he's not supposed to, but eventually he gets away with it. He gets a one-shot win. It's the first win in over a year for a guy who basically wins every year. So it's surprising to think that he's gone a year without a victory, but he is once again got his hands on his trophy.
How much do you think the rain delay impacted either of the golfers in Streelman or Johnson kind of towards the end?
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit, but not too much, just because, it gave them a chance to reset. And they both knew it's basically at that point a 2-horse race. And it's funny how that course lays out where Kevin Streelman was in the 17th fairway. You can look across the lake to 16T where DJ was. So they were able to kind of play match play, even though they were separated by one group and they realized what the other one was doing. But really, you get down to that stretch when DJ's got a 2-shot lead with 3 holes to go. He knows pretty much if I make 3 pars, I'm going to win. And he did that even though he made the bogey on 16, ended up winning by 1 shot instead of 2.
It was an impressive day. And I wonder if just because Dustin Johnson and the celebrity that follows him, and look, rightfully so, he's a big celeb, even beyond the sport. But I wonder if what Kevin Streelman did for 4 straight days is going to get lost to the average fan.
Well, I think a little bit if you're talking about the average fan, but certainly this is not a surprise to see out of Kevin Streelman. He has won here before in dramatic fashion. He reeled off 7 straight birdies to win back in 2014. So he knows this course. He likes this course, and it's one of those places where he's always kind of top of mind in terms of those sleeper picks that definitely came to fruition this week. But you're right. I mean, the average golf fan is going to look at the leaderboard, and they're going to notice DJ, and he is definitely a deserved winner. And then you always start to look a little bit forward, and you wonder, all right, now that he's got that victory, how does he maybe going to bounce back after maybe a slow and sluggish spring? You got the hiatus that was involved there for 3 months, and now maybe he's one of those guys that's going to get a little momentum as we now head into a fall stretch of majors.
Is there enough golf under his belt? I know we had this conversation a little bit last week and looking, kind of gauging what the Travelers would do to give us enough data, hopefully, where we have a couple of tournaments and can kind of look at both momentum in positive and negative directions. I wonder how much you factor that in with how difficult it was to follow up a 61. I know that bogey towards the end dropped him to 3 under, but really difficult to bounce back from a 9 under, and he shot well enough to hold on for that lead. Maybe those 2 days are enough to kind of look at this and think he can carry that momentum into the next event, or is it still with DJ a little too hesitant?
I definitely think that there's a possibility of momentum here. It's interesting because he already knew he was going to be taking next week off, so he's going to have a chance to reset. Certainly, it's better to head home, with trophy in hand than a 5th place check. But yeah, I do think that this is a situation where these guys came out, and DJ is one of those top guys who came out and said, all right, I'm going to play each of these first 3 events and then kind of see where I'm at and see where my game's at, see where everything is at with coronavirus and the PGA Tour's operations. And then I'll probably head to Memorial is the next time we're going to see him in a couple weeks. So I do think that that's going to give him a chance to just kind of take a break, reevaluate, maybe, work a little bit and tweak some things around the edges. Didn't have much to tweak in the Saturday 61, but yeah, definitely as you look forward to the PGA Championship, which is a little over a month away, he's definitely going to be one of those guys that you look at on a course like Harding Park, where, he hit about 351 yards on 18 with a 1-shot lead. That's going to help you anywhere you play, but especially in a major championship venue like Harding Park.
Well, we were talking about it on Friday. Looking at specifically Will Gordon, as we're chatting with Will Gray at Will Gray GC on Twitter, at Golf Channel, of course, where you can follow the Golf Channel and everything Will is writing, golfchannel.com. Another Will and Will Gordon. We were talking about this on Friday's show and looking even live odds before he finished with that 62. at plus 900 to win the whole thing. Now, what the hell? And look, 71 is a tough day and still great for like 90% of 99% of the population. I get that. But what happened on Saturday that ultimately cost him, especially as he was able to bounce back today with a 64?
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those situations where the spotlight may have caught up to him a little bit. The situation got to his head, which is understandable for a guy who just last year was playing at Vanderbilt and had never really been in that sort of situation on the PGA Tour. But as you mentioned, he bounced back very well today. And I think that if you'd have given him a tie for third on Friday morning or on Thursday morning, he would have said, where can I sign and let me get the heck out of town. So, I mean, this is going to turn out to, I know he would have loved to have gotten a victory, but this is going to turn out to be a very big week for Will Gordon. It gets him special temporary status on the PGA Tour. It allows him to get into a few more events and sponsor invites. And if you look at the landscape of professional golf right now with the Korn Ferry finals blocked off, really, it's very hard to get onto the PGA Tour. If you don't have status right now, it's hard to get on anytime before about 2022. And I think that Will Gordon may have found a side door here with a top 3 finish at the Travelers. We'll see how he follows it up in the next coming week.
I saw your tweet referencing the Mackenzie Hughes putt. My goodness. Not only did that secure the top 3, but it kind of shook the leaderboard a little bit, knocked some people down. It was amazing to watch him. It was 2 putts that he put. I think it was 90 feet they tallied. I don't know how he was able to read that and then execute that last one where, I don't know, it looked like he lined up and then putt the ball 20 feet to the left of the cup.
Yeah, absolutely. That putt on 17 was about 40 feet with 20 feet of break, as you said. So that was a 1 in 100 putt, and then he makes another bomb off the fringe on 18 for another birdie. And so you think about guys, you mentioned the rain delay with Streelman and DJ. Maybe Mackenzie Hughes is one of those guys who really benefited because he was having kind of a rough time. Then he comes back out and he knows, hey, I only have a couple holes left. I might as well shoot for the flag, and I might as well, not leave any putts short. And now all of a sudden he goes from 6th place to a T3 finish, and that's a big result for a guy who had missed several of the last few cuts in the events that he had entered. And so you always look back and you wonder, where was the spark? What was the thing that maybe propelled the guy to future success? And so if he continues to keep this up, if we have another week where we're talking about Mackenzie Hughes, who, starting on Thursday with that opening round 60, you thought he was going to be around all week long, but making 2 birdie bombs and 90 feet of putts in the last 2 holes, that certainly makes the flight home a little bit better.
We now have a couple of tournaments, as you mentioned, from the Schwab, RBC, now Heritage, right through the Travelers. The Canadian got canceled, but the Schwab, the RBC, Heritage, and now the Travelers. So I'm curious, in your opinion, who is playing the best golf in the world right now?
That is a good question. I honestly might lean towards Bryson DeChambeau, and I know that he hasn't won any of these events.
Yes,
but the guy
I love
now he's got 6 straight top 10 finishes. He's gone 3 for 3 since the break. He's hitting 400-yard drives, eating 7 protein shakes on every tee box. I mean, he's revolutionizing the game, and it's great for content, great for business. But then, to his credit, he's backing it up with a lot of big results. And I know we spoke a little bit about this last week, but it's coming on courses where you would not expect it. These are some shorter, Kevin Streelman type courses, even though DJ won today. And so now you look at Memorial in a couple weeks, which is an event that he won 2 years ago and probably 50 pounds ago. So that's absolutely going to be a place where he could feast. And then next week at the Rocket Mortgage, it's pretty much him and Webb Simpson at the top of the leaderboard in terms of pre-tournament odds. And so I certainly think that he's going to be teeing off Thursday as one of, if not the betting favorite in Detroit.
Is it on golf? And I teeter back and forth on this because I feel like for now 3 straight weeks, there hasn't been a push by the sport. And I like this. And again, this is me from the outside observing, Will, but it looks like there hasn't been a push to jam one person down our throat. Now, Phil has a huge day. Storylines write themselves. But I feel like coming into it, it's not Rory or bust or a Koepka or bust. And I feel like that's opened the average fan, especially since there isn't much going on outside of the PGA, which is a great thing for golf. It's opened the fan up to a lot more people that they may not know, even like a young bomber now in Bryson. So I'm kind of torn here because I recognize that you could really get behind a young golfer in Bryson and all of the cool storylines. And I think that he would really attract a lot of people on the fringe. But at the same time, that might have got them in trouble in the past where they've tried to force the next Tiger or even Rory and Phil down our throat.
Well, I was going to say, this dynamic you're describing, I think very much benefits from the fact that Tiger Woods is nowhere to be found.
Yes.
I think if he had played any of these first 3 or 4 events, I think you might have had a lot of Tiger Woods discussions, for better or worse. I do think I agree with your point. Certainly coming out of the break, you're wondering who's going to show a little bit of rust, who's going to be a player that comes out guns blazing, and the way that the professional golf, sets up, it's definitely reactive in terms of the storylines. Everyone starts on level play on Thursday morning, and then you kind of let the leaderboard come to you and see what the stories are and what storylines are worth talking about. And then there's also the independent contractor aspect because, Bryson might play this week and then he might take 2 weeks off. So the average fan who's used to maybe team sports where your team's playing tonight, they're playing tomorrow, they're playing Thursday, golf has a little bit of a different cadence. And so I think that that's part of why you try and find those 3 or 4 main storylines and main threads to weave from one event to the next over several weeks. But yeah, you're right. Through the first few weeks, Rory McIlroy hasn't done a ton outside of the first couple of days at Colonial. Bryson has played well, but he hasn't won. Now Dustin Johnson and Webb Simpson, who are both ranked around 5 and 6 in the world, they've won the last 2 weeks. So those are some headlines and some star power, but certainly they are at a different threshold than Tiger, Phil, Rory, those sort of guys.
Is there a name, Will, that jumps out over the last couple of weeks that you're really disappointed in, either from an execution and maybe from a futures, a betting standpoint, somebody who should be up there, not even winning, but just hovering, top 20, my goodness, and the golfer has just been struggling week in and week out?
Yeah, I've got my eye next week in Detroit on Ricky Fowler, and he's come out. He didn't play this week, but he missed the first 2 cuts. He missed the cut at Colonial, missed the cut at Heritage. He's a Rocket Mortgage guy, so he's going to be, always in the field in Detroit. And if he somehow slams the trunk on Friday and comes up with 3 straight missed cuts, I think you have to reach for the panic button with Ricky, who is a guy that we're used to, seeing around the top 10, top 15 in the world rankings. He's fallen a little bit. He's down to around that 30th mark, and he really hasn't had that many rounds of note in 2020, either before the hiatus or after. And so once you get in the situation where, you have to go back into the memory bank 6, 7, 8 months to really find that round that gets you going where you feel like you've got it all firing on all cylinders, that can be a bit problematic. So certainly I think this is going to be a big week for Ricky up in Detroit.
Well, as always, my friend, I appreciate the time. Before you go, I need a ruling from somebody in the golf world on whether or not this is acceptable. I was talking to John Belmer, great producer here at the program. We brought this up on Friday with Ron Culver as well. But look, I'm 42, so the metabolism is shot. I don't have it working like I did. Even walking 18 does nothing to my body. So I've shifted to the White Claw. Is that a violation? Am I not allowed to drink a White Claw while golfing?
This is borderline, but I'm gonna go in your favor just because I'm down in Florida and it's about 112 degrees out right now, and so you have to be very careful when you're trying to stay hydrated on the course in these summer months. Anything with a little bit of crisp, a little bit of refreshing aspect, that's probably going to get the job done. I'd be careful about pounding your White Claws, if you're playing around Thanksgiving. But for right now, in the summer, in the middle of a pandemic, anything goes.
I love how you say it's borderline. Like I just made the cut.
Oh, that's it. That's the ruling.
I love it. Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. Thank you for reinforcing that it's okay, at least for now. And great job as always. Stay well, stay safe. Thank you for the time.
All right, good talking to you, Eitan. Have a good one.
You got it. That's the great Will Gray. Hilarious. Good follow on Twitter at Will Gray GC. That's for Golf Channel at Golf Channel, golfchannel.com. We'll wrap the hour next on the weekend edition of the Second Level.
Into the night.
Oh,
He
man.
gave you a
He's
pass.
great.
Yeah. Oh, he is great.
Yeah.
Ain't enough. The great Charles Barkley. Chuck, you said it earlier.
funny,
Shaq
man.
said it. Season, do you still believe it? I know you said that they are going to play. Do you still believe that it's not worth playing?
Listen, I'm 100% sure they're going to play, just from what I'm hearing from my people, but I just don't know how it's going to be safe. I really don't. I would hate for something bad to happen, and I would hate to see one of the stars get hurt and they lose in the first round or second round of the playoffs to an inferior team. Let me tell you something. You can have 100 players on a team in the NBA. If you lose Giannis, LeBron, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, it don't matter about those other 99. That's the thing that scares me. If Giannis gets sick and has to miss the first round of the playoffs, and Milwaukee Bucks are not going to win. They're out. They're at all.
Into the night with Tony Bruno and Harry Mays. Weeknights at 10 Eastern. Pharrell,
Coast to coast. People used to say, "Oh, that Pharrell guy, he's on late at night. He doesn't matter." Well,
besides the interview you did on Tony Bruno, what else do we have for the third hour?
Hold on one sec. Cam Newton, it looks like, just signed with the Patriots.
Oh,
not
okay.
And Pharrell.
Holy crap.
Pharrell Coast to Coast with Scott Pharrell. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern. The second level. The second level.
I'm trying to be more conscious about what I'm eating, what I'm drinking, and cutting back beer. And so I tried something 2 weeks ago, and ever since, it's all I drink. Do you want to guess what it is first before I explain it to you? Because you know it's something that if I'm admitting, it's going to be something where people are either going to make fun of me or judge me for it.
White Claw.
Absolutely right. A lemon lime. I pound those things. Think about it. You're out in the hot sun. You're walking 18 and you're drinking cold carbonated seltzer. I have to now be secretive in the drink that I'm ordering because I don't want to be publicly shamed at the golf course for just walking around with 6 or 7 White Claws. Now, does that make me immediately one of these crazy girls that you see on video in the Hamptons? Oh my God, my White Claw. Are you judging me right now?
The second level. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call. I remember as a little kid wanting to be an archaeologist because of Indiana Jones. I didn't realize it was boring. But
that's what you thought an archaeologist did.
I thought that's what they did. You had whips and they'd go around to ancient lands and find treasure. I didn't know they spent most of their time with a paintbrush dusting off little ounces of sand.
Or in a classroom teaching hungover college students.
That's right, exactly.
Wake Up Call with Tony D and Ron Culver. Weekday mornings. This is SB Nation Radio,
And SBNationRadio.com.
presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans, live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's
Mike's hot.
Breaking news, according to league sources, Adam Schefter and Chris Mortensen are reporting former NFL MVP Cam Newton has reached an agreement. It's a 1-year incentive-laden deal with who else? Who else? Of course it's the Patriots. Of course it's Bill Belichick. Of course the NFL got you betting heavy on the Bills this year to win the AFC East. And now all you need is a Cam Newton that can stand up straight. Tom Brady was not great last year. Make no mistake. Laboring Brian Phillips and try to get somebody on here to talk about this in the start of the next hour. Also want to replay a really fun interview I did that was aired on this network Friday night. In case you missed it, chance to promote 2 separate shows on here in the final hour. But this is gigantic. This is the odds-on favorite were the Patriots. So you can't look at it like total shock. I think it was more a matter of when Cam Newton was going to make a decision and if, in fact, there might have been a guaranteed spot here for 2 years or 3 years, depending on the length of the contract and guaranteed money. This is basically like, well, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We could really use this guy if he's healthy. We don't really know how healthy he is. It's a 1-year incentive-laden deal. Makes sense? It's huge. I wonder right now, we've 6 minutes, how fast these sports books are updating all of their futures in the NFL, scrambling right now. So we hit the final hour. Cam Newton, Cam Newton, Cam Newton. Man.
Holy crap.
That's huge.
All right, is this where you're going to do the...
Oh, yeah, I'll do this real quick.
Okay.
So what is it again?
So I need